Whenever you guys are
All right,
ready.
everybody. Set. Set. All right, you ready to go?
Yes, I'm ready.
And if the train comes, you can just, and it's loud, you can just let it pass for a moment. Just pause during it if it's really loud.
Okay.
Okay? All you.
Thank you. Hello, New York. Hello, hello.
Speak loud.
I want to thank Mayor Bill de Blasio, the council speaker, Corey Johnson. I don't know where you are, but oh, here you go. David Johnson, John Raskin, and all of the council members who have fought so hard to create this program. I appreciate. My name is Lenice Brown. Hi, for anybody who knows me. And I'm a mom and I'm a hard worker. I'm also a dog walker, and I just wanted to say that I appreciate this program, and I want to thank everybody who provided service and put in the effort to make this critical program possible. I received my card. I just want everybody to be patient because we're building New York one time, one inch at a time. And I just want to say thank you again. And this card will help everybody in New York. Well, let me not make this so long. I appreciate this program because just right now, when I receive my card, I'm going to get a chance to get my daughter, who's going into high school. She picked 12 high schools, and we get a chance to tour and go to bake sales, and I get to go to my meetings. I go back and forth to work on transit every day, and it's just, it helps so much. The 50% off and the reduced rate. So once this program is fully enrolled and everybody can enroll, it'll just be a wonderful thing. I'm just so glad. I want to say thank you again. And New York, be patient. And I'm so glad that this program was enrolled today. And thank you again. Thank you again.
Great job, Lenice. Hold on, we got to talk to everyone here. Lenice, don't forget that. Lenice, thank you so much. Want to really, really thank you for you spoke powerfully, because what you said is going to be true for thousands and thousands of New Yorkers. It's going to change their lives. What we're doing here today. And Lenice is the first New Yorker to have a fair card. You're looking at her right there. So she's the very first New Yorker to get one. She's the very first New Yorker to use one, which she did just a few minutes ago. And this is the beginning of something great. For thousands and thousands of New Yorkers, it means doors of opportunity will open up. You heard what Lenice talked about. She's going to use that discount MetroCard to make sure her child gets into the right high school. Other people are going to use it to go to a job interview, or to get to a job that they were struggling to hold on to and struggling to make ends meet. They're going to have so many ways that they can use this that are going to change their lives for better, pursuing education, opportunity. This is a difference maker for so many New Yorkers. I want to thank all of the leaders who are here. You're going to hear from some of the advocates who led the charge to get us to this day. You're going to hear from Speaker Johnson, members of the council, for whom this was a profound priority, and I want to thank them for that. I also want to note we are in, or very near, the district of Councilmember Mark Levine, and want to thank him for being here. Also, Councilmember Rafael Espinal of Brooklyn. All the members of council have focused on this as a priority. Now, with Lenice's single swipe of that MetroCard, she made history. We as a city made history. And now we can put this into context. The subway system began in 1904. There has never been a time that low-income New Yorkers got discount MetroCards like this. This has never happened in the history of New York City previously, over 100 years. This is the first time ever that a huge number of New Yorkers are going to have that reduced fare open to them on a regular basis. Now, let me tell you, we understand that for so many people, this is literally the choice they make every day between food, rent, medicine, transportation. This is a town, we love it, but we know there's a huge number of New Yorkers who are struggling to make ends meet. That's what we are trying to address today. A Metro card on a monthly basis for each person is $1,450. For a lot of people, even though it's a good deal, it's beyond their reach because they have to make those tough choices. But what we're doing here today is a major step towards a fair and just society, because half-price Metro cards can save low-income New Yorkers up to $700 a year. And $700 means a lot to someone who's struggling to make ends meet. This is going to be phased in. You'll hear from Steve Banks in a moment, our Social Services Commissioner, who will talk about the phases that we're going to undertake. And we'll have a couple of specifics we're going to announce, and then we're going to keep building from there rigorously. I want to emphasize, I said it this morning on the radio, I've said it in the past, I want to say it again. This is the right thing to do, and we're moving forward. But I am going to also fight for this to be a part of the discussion for MTA funding, culminating in April 1st in Albany. We all, every strap hanger, every New Yorker needs Albany to make a decision about the future of the MTA, the decision about the future of our subways and buses by April 1st, and to come up with a full funding plan that actually can fix our subways. In that discussion, I think fair fares should be part of it. But in the meantime, we are going to just continue to build and grow this program because we believe in it. And we start today with working New Yorkers who receive cash assistance benefits. That's the first phase, is New Yorkers who receive cash assistance benefits. In April, we will move to expand to New Yorkers who get SNAP benefits, otherwise known as food stamps. This is something that is going to make a big difference. It is based on the fundamental idea that this has to be a city for everyone. And we have to fight in every way possible to continue to make it livable and affordable for everyday New Yorkers. This fits with things like paid sick leave, which this council also helped take the lead on. This fits with things like raising the minimum wage to $15, which happened this very week for the first time, and everyone here fought for that. This fits with things like providing pre-K and 3K for free, or after-school programs for middle school kids for free. All of these things lighten the burden on working people and low-income people. And so we believe that this is going to make a big difference. 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I talked about the tale of two cities and how we would fight to overcome it. Fair fares are a major step in ending that tale of two cities and creating a city that works for everyone. Let me say a few words in Spanish. Hoy, la ciudad de Nueva York demuestra lo que es ser una ciudad justa. Tarifas justas significa tarifas de metro y autobús a mitad de precio para neoyorquinos en situación de pobreza. Llegaremos a la mayor cantidad de neoyorquinos posible y les diremos, esta es tu ciudad, una ciudad justa. A city that aims to be the fairest big city in America. And I want to now introduce a champion. He has fought hard. I'm sorry, got a note here. We are joined by another strong advocate for fair fares, Councilmember Lori Cumbo. Thank you for being with us. Now I want to introduce, excuse me everyone, this is a press conference on fair fares. Please respect what we're here to discuss. Okay, I'm going to continue to introduce Corey Johnson, the Speaker of the City Council, who has championed this vision. And I want to thank Corey Johnson and the members of the City Council. Thank you. Speaker Corey Johnson. Welcome to the public.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Why are you putting more burden on the poor to have to get more benefit? Why Why don't you make it free and universal for all? My name is Chino. I'm running for public advocate for the real poor because I had that when I was young, and I was. What are you? Hey! Hey!
Good afternoon. Welcome to New York. Good afternoon. I want to thank Mayor de Blasio, my colleagues from the council who are here this morning, council members Levin, Rodriguez, Drum, Levine, Espinal, and Majority Leader Cumbo for being here today. And I'm going to speak about the advocates in a moment. We made it. I am so proud to be here. Yesterday, January 3rd, was the one-year anniversary of the day that my colleagues in the council voted me in as the Speaker of the New York City Council. And I remember getting ready, trying to put on my best tie, and feeling very nervous and somewhat overwhelmed by the whole thing. And I remember right after the vote was over, I felt a huge sense of gratitude and also a sense of obligation to the people of our great city to do the right thing and to take care of the people who need it most. And that is why, for my first budget as Speaker, I made, and the members here made, fair fares a priority. It wasn't just me. The council overwhelmingly prioritized this program to excellent results. It has been a long road, but we are here today launching fair fares to help the most vulnerable New Yorkers. These New Yorkers were on my mind 1 year ago when I was elected and have been on my mind every day since. They are the reason I ran for public office, and I will never forget them. I grew up in public housing in a family that struggled, and I know the difficult choices that families have to make when they don't have a lot of money. And as I said then, it was a long road to get here. I have a long list of people to thank, starting with Mayor de Blasio. Certainly this was a long process. There might even have been a couple of news stories about it. Not 100% sure, but I think I will say our hearts, both of our hearts, all of our hearts, have been in the right place since day one. And the mayor's ultimate goal was always about getting this right. I am proud to stand alongside him now that this program is starting. But I think that I can speak for the mayor when I say this isn't our victory. I believe, I 100% know, the mayor believes this, that the most impactful change always comes from the grassroots. And that is especially true of the Fair Fares Coalition and campaign, which had over 70 nonprofit organizations, labor and clergy, and advocacy groups who led this effort. This was a campaign that was about hard work, time, and dedication. And we worked day and night with the advocates, from organizing days of action at subway stops and on social media to sharing incredible stories in the papers, and we never gave up throughout that campaign. And I really have to give a special shout out to the Rioters Alliance and the Community Service Society. From CSS, their president, who's with us this afternoon, David Jones, his team, Jeff Macklin, Nancy Rankin, and from the Rioters Alliance, John Raskin, Rebecca Balin, Dana Dennis, and everyone on their teams. I can't thank you enough. It's been a pleasure and an inspiration working on this with you. I also want to thank New Yorkers Shani Rahman and Cynthia Kozakowski, who were very honest with their own stories and how a program like this would make a difference in their lives. I want to thank you for your work and sharing your story that drove home the need for fair fares. I'd like to close by reminding everyone today is just the beginning. We will work to make sure all New Yorkers living at or below the federal poverty line have access to this program. And I can promise you that is our mission, and we are ready together to work on making this a reality. We know that we have more work to do, and we are ready. Every day I see people on our subways asking for a swipe. And I think of them every day as we do this work. They need this program. New York City needs this program. Fair Fares says we believe in people and we believe in the promise of New York City. The turnstile can be the door to unlimited opportunity if you can get on. And we're just giving you the keys to open that door. Again, I want to thank everyone who made this possible. This is the beginning. We have more work to do, and we'll get it done because we're united and wanting to make sure that this program is a huge success and a national model. Congratulations. Thank you all very much.
Now I'll introduce the chair of the Finance Committee, helped lead the negotiations that got us to this day, Councilmember Danny Drum.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It is a great day, and I do want to reiterate what the Speaker was saying, is that this was a top priority for us as we went through the budget negotiations. And as negotiations go, there's always back and forth, ups and downs. You're never quite sure what we're going to come up with. But in the end, I think that the result that we have here today shows the commitment by both the Council and by the administration to our low-income New Yorkers. We understand and we know what a half-fare Metro card means to people. It means that you can get to work. It means that you can get to school. It can get to the appointments, to doctors, take care of your kids. And as was said in the very beginning, you know, making sure that students and their parents can do what they have to do to get around the city. So we are very proud to stand here. We thank our Speaker for his leadership in this role, and we say thank you very much. We're happy to be here today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Danny. And now the chair of the Transportation Committee, who has been one of the biggest advocates for this vision, Councilmember Adonis Rodriguez.
Well, this can be a simple Metro card for wealthy New Yorker, but this is a treasure for working class New Yorkers, especially immigrants. I have no doubt that the heart of Mayor Bill de Blasio is on the working class. And I always say, when I know this mayor was there back in the 80s in Nicaragua, supporting the good cause, I know that he's been fighting for social justice. Yes. However, we live in a complicated city, but we also know that it's not only about how to start a program, it's also how to maintain the program. So here we had a commitment from a mayor, from the Speaker, that this is only a beginning. You know, it is so difficult to think about how 2 years ago I started leading this initiative together with the advocate, and it didn't make it to the finish line. And what the Speaker Johnson who said, we're taking this, we get it done. And the mayor listening to the case that all of us were making. So for me, this is about, Guy, I used to be the student living at 124 Sherman Avenue and going to City College. And many times walking, there was no Metro card, was it talking. Yes, walking not because I thought I was good for my health, but yeah, because I didn't have the $1.25 at that time. So here we are today in 2018, sending the message to the poorest New Yorker, to 800,000 of them, that this is only a beginning. We have thousands and thousands of students going to CUNY, going to community college. We have single mother. We have taxi drivers. Family of one making $12,000. Family of five making $29,000. And today, this is like the pay sick day. This is only a beginning with a commitment that we're going to be working together to make it permanent, to get the 800,000 New Yorkers who live in poverty to benefit from this program. So para mí es un día de decir a los inmigrantes, a los trabajadores, que una tarjeta de crédito que para la clase alta es un lujo, para nosotros es una oportunidad. Gracias al alcalde, gracias al Speaker Johnson, y hoy vamos a comenzar a proveer 50% de descuento a los neoyorquinos que viven en los niveles de pobreza. Thank you.
Now, there was a lot of work over the last 6 months that went into perfecting this brand new program. It's never been done before in this city. And a lot of that had to be done by our Department of Social Services. A big partner in that effort who provides oversight over that department is the chair of the General Welfare Committee, Council Member Steve Levin.
Thank you, Majority Leader. I want to thank the Mayor, Bill de Blasio, and Speaker Corey Johnson for getting us to this point today. As they both said, and as my colleagues, Ignacio Rodriguez and Danny Drum said, this is a true lifeline for everyday New Yorkers. We all know how hard it is to make it in this city. It has been a hallmark of Mayor de Blasio's administration to try to bridge that gap and end that tale of two cities. But it takes meaningful steps to get there. It takes a helping hand for working New Yorkers who are facing rising costs of housing at astronomical rates. The economy is doing better, and so wages are picking up, but it has been far outpaced over the last 10, 15 years by the cost of housing in New York City. And all the work that he's done over the last 5 years, and all the work that Speaker Johnson has done over the last year to try to alleviate that housing burden, we continue to have to do more. And so something like this, Fair Fares, which is putting real dollars back in the pockets of New Yorkers who really need it. We're talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars a year that can go towards food, that can go towards child care, that can go towards rent, that can go towards paying for the babysitter for the children. This is a meaningful measure. And I want to thank the Speaker for really making this a focus of his first year. He sat down, he said, we're going to get this done. We are going to get this done. And the mayor has been so willing to work with us at the council to make this happen. And I want to thank him, his entire team, Commissioner Banks, and his entire team for implementing this. I want to thank OMB, Director Hartzog, and everybody there for working through this, making sure that this became a reality. People need to sign up. We've got to get the word out there. Everybody that qualifies should have a Fair Fare Metro card. So let's get the word out there collectively, make sure people know about it. And also, I got to thank David Jones, Community Service Society, and Riders Alliance, John Raskin, and their entire team for really bringing this to our attention and making this, holding us accountable and making sure that we delivered on this. So thank you all, and this is a great start to a new year. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. As we turn to the activists and advocates who have led the way, I just want to thank the people standing back here who have been part of this campaign. Congratulations to all of you. And now to David Jones, the president of Community Service Society. This is the kind of thing he's been spending a lifetime fighting for. Congratulations, David.
Well, as I begin, let me start by thanking Speaker Corey Johnson for championing fair fares. He made half-price fares for low-income New Yorkers a budget priority. He fought for it, and he delivered it. The Council achieved a historic budget agreement to fully fund fair fares with an initial commitment of $106 million for the first 6 months. The money was put in the budget for this specific purpose. Now it is up to the mayor to make good on his side of the bargain, and he said so he would, to make good on his promise to deliver a program that we can all be proud of, one that will help all low-income New Yorkers who know from our research are struggling every day just to afford buses and subway fares. They need to go to work, classes, and care for their families. But it is very good to see the mayor taking this first step towards providing half-price Metro cards for all New Yorkers below the federal poverty line. And we have to recognize that. And today, the mayor has once again reaffirmed his commitment to rolling out the full program and reaching all New Yorkers in need of this essential benefit. But of course, talk alone won't get you through the turnstile. It takes a process to make it easy for people to sign up and get their card. It takes an extensive outreach effort like that done for pre-K and paid sick leaves, so many of the projects we've worked with the administration on, to let people know about it and how to apply. And it takes a concrete timeline that doesn't leave hundreds of thousands of poor people waiting for a program that is coming at some unspecified time in the distant future. New Yorkers need reduced fares now, especially with the prospect of another fare hike in March that could well bring a round-trip ticket to $6. New Yorkers need to get to work today, not next year. They need the substantial savings fair fares will provide to pay the rent so they don't become tomorrow's homeless. So while we're very glad that some New Yorkers will soon be able to take advantage of a more affordable subway and bus fare, we're continually concerned, and that's because we're advocates, about those that may be left waiting. The working poor, who are not already in contact with HRA, many of whom are immigrants who either don't qualify for federal benefits or are too fearful to apply in this age of Trump. CUNY students from low-income families who commute to classes and have to work, at least part-time and sometimes full-time. And finally, of course, the unemployed headed to job interviews. The mayor's initial rollout only covers a small fraction of the 800,000, but it is a first step. We want to see the timeline for the full program that was promised to New Yorkers last June. We have to say, progressive rhetoric that all of us use always have to meet the rubber to the road of getting it done. And we think this is vitally important. But I want to thank the mayor, but particularly Speaker Corey Johnson, for bringing us this far. This is a tough project. It will literally put New York City in the forefront of efforts to make it an equitable city for us all. Thank you.
Another key leader in this fight, and I want to thank him for his leadership on behalf of subway riders in general, is the Executive Director of the Riders Alliance, John Raskin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. So I'm John Raskin. I'm the Executive Director of the Riders Alliance. 3 years ago, the Riders Alliance joined with Community Service Society to launch this campaign for fair fares. And we did it because we understood that people were having to choose between a meal and a Metro card. People were having to choose between paying rent and paying for public transit. And as a result, people were jumping turnstiles. People are begging for swipes outside subway stations. People are walking for miles instead of taking the bus or taking the subway because they can't afford to get on the train. And that is not right. The whole premise of fair fares is a basic understanding that if you can get around, you can get ahead. And that is the goal, which is providing opportunity for everyone living in New York. So Speaker Corey Johnson pushed very hard in budget negotiations, and I think that was possible because the entire City Council was united together in pushing for fair fares. And so I want to start by thanking the entire City Council for their dogged efforts, and particularly Speaker Johnson for taking the lead and pushing it this year. As part of budget negotiations, the city agreed to fund this program and to put in half a full year of funding, right? To put in more than $100 million so we could start this program in January, which is what we're rolling out today. We were proud to stand with the Speaker and the Mayor and many members of the City Council in June when budget negotiations were over, and we're proud to stand here today and roll out the first phase of fair fares. This is exciting, not just for the individuals who are here today, but for tens of thousands of people who will be able to benefit right away, now, in January, from the new Fair Fares program. That is a vital first step. But just as important as that is the mayor and the speaker both today reaffirming the commitment that this is a beginning of the program, not an end. Right, this is a program that we are phasing in step by step. We are starting today, but the ultimate commitment, which is so important, is to reach everyone living below poverty in New York City. Right? That includes people who are not already in the city's social services system. That includes people who are immigrant New Yorkers, documented and undocumented. That includes everybody who is income eligible, who needs fair fares. And so that is the other part of what we're celebrating today, is that commitment. But as David Jones said a few minutes ago, that has to come with the specifics. Right? We need a timeline that is quick, that is aggressive about implementing fair fares so that Riders Alliance members and everyone in the city who pushed and fought and advocated and organized to win fair fares knows how to apply and can sign up and take advantage of the program. So today is a day for celebration. Today, many people are going to be able to access fair fares. As I think Steve Banks may describe, more people will be coming soon. What we're really doing is reaffirming a commitment on the part of the advocates, on the part of the elected officials, to keep pushing for the rest of the program so that the entire program that we agreed to in June is accessible to people quickly and rapidly. And I think that's something that will be appreciated by hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers who will benefit. So thank you very much for including us. Thank you, Speaker Johnson, for your leadership. And thank you, Mayor de Blasio, for making it happen so that we really are rolling this program out, the first step, at the beginning of January. Thank you.
We have to hear the strong, powerful, extraordinarily loud voice. Majority Leader Lori Cumbo.
Yay! Hello, Harlem, and you know that I am so excited about fair fares because I came all the way from Brooklyn, New York, and those that are from Brooklyn know we don't come up to Harlem that often. So if we're here, we love this program. And 125th Street is really the right place to launch this. This is really where so many great ideas right from the people come. You're getting great ideas, even if you're getting cursed out while you're getting them. But you're getting them nonetheless. And I just want to add, this is so exciting to me because I heard that there were a lot of great men up here speaking, so I had to make my way up here to bring some estrogen energy up here. Because you saw last night in Congress, we are doing it. We are blazing a new trail for women leadership. And for me, fair fares meant a lot to me before, but it meant even more once I became a mom. Because people don't, we're talking about going to work and coming back home, but people don't realize as a mom, often single moms, head of households, have to get up, get dressed, go and take the baby to daycare, go and take the other baby to elementary school, get on the train, get back to work, and do it all again every day. So this is really a huge shout out to all the moms out there who really need this, who are really doing the incredible work to raise their families and continue to make sure that they are able to put food on the table, pay for daycare, get their children to school, put clothes on the back, and food on the table. So this is an extraordinary opportunity, and I really want to thank Speaker Johnson and Mayor Bill de Blasio. Fair fares has been talked about for years, but as soon as Corey Johnson came into office, he got this done in 1 year. And that's what politics are really all about, getting the job done and putting resources into the pockets of our community. Thank you all, God bless you all, and I'll see you on the train.
Thank you, Lori. Last, I want you to hear from the man who, him and his team put an immense amount of work in over the last 6 months with OMB, with the council team, to figure out how to make this work and how to make it work consistently, be sustainable, be something that we all could be proud of. I want to thank you for your leadership. Commissioner of Social Services, Steve Banks.
Good afternoon. So I want to just briefly lay out for you the rollout of the program. We have been spending the time up to this point determining people that are already known to us at the Department of Social Services to be eligible for the program, so we don't have to erect a complex eligibility process. So we are now able to, beginning today, to mail letters to up to 30,000 cash assistance recipients who are working to tell them that they are eligible to come in and get a card. And then they will be able to get their card at a distribution site. And we will continue to reach out to people with follow-up letters and robocalls to make sure that this first group who have already determined to be eligible comes down and gets their card. These, again, are working cash assistance recipients whose wages are at such a level that they're still eligible for cash public assistance. The next group in this phase will be SNAP or food stamp recipients. Up to 130,000 SNAP and food stamp recipients will be determined to be eligible for this program, and they will be able to go online and register for the program and have a card mailed to them. The cash assistance recipients, the working cash assistance recipients who previously had to come in and pick up their benefit, will now also be able to get their benefit online and through the mail. So in this first phase, we're very much focused on a streamlined approach, determining people who are already known to us to be eligible, working people receiving cash assistance, and next working people receiving SNAP or food stamp assistance. And in April, we'll be able to make this service, this benefit, available to people by registering online and through the mail without even having to come into an office. I can also tell you that the ability to get the card, the first features will include a 7-day or a 30-day discount, just like Lenice was able to get today. And then starting in April, we'll be able to roll out a pay-per-ride feature in addition to the 7-day and 30-day feature. And that will be also offered, again, to the individuals that have opted for these first 90 days of benefits, so that all participants will be able to have all three of these options. In April, we will have worked with the MTA to put in place a system to appropriately monitor usage to make sure that the program is working properly to be able to extend the pay-per-ride feature. In a nutshell, that's what we've been working on to put together, a system in which people will be determined eligible without having to come in to see us, and ultimately, in April, a system in which you can receive the benefit in the mail and not have to come to our offices and register online.
Thank you very much, Steve. Thank you. All right, and Steve, don't go far, because we're going to be turning to you for questions on a lot of the specifics. So everyone in the media, we're going to turn to questions on Fair Fares, and then we'll open up for some other questions. I know there's some other MTA and other things on people's minds. Okay, first on Fair Fares, Grace.
So, since the eligibility of the first wave of people has long been determined, why wasn't this ready to go on January 1st? And
Grace, we're very comfortable with starting January 4th. Continue.
Okay, and then additionally, since the food stamp recipients are also known, why can't they begin right now?
It takes time to put the structure in place in a way that's truly effective and verifiable. Steve, you can talk about the steps on the SNAP benefits.
Again, we wanted to design a system in which people will not have to come into an office to get the benefit, in which they could register online and receive the benefit by mail. And that system requires building. It'll be available beginning in April, and we wanted to make sure that we had the first population getting their benefits beginning this month, and make sure that we can see all the features of the program working before we expand it to the next group. So we're starting with 30,000 rolled out this month, and another 130,000 in April.
Grace, follow.
Just to be clear, the reason that 130,000, the food stamp recipients, aren't eligible to get them today is because you want them to be able to apply online? Is that...
We want them to be able, we want to make applying and receiving the benefit as streamlined and easy as possible, and we want to provide that online feature and being able to get it mailed to you. That feature will not be available until April. We're building a system that never existed before, but we wanted to get a system up and running this month, and that's why we're rolling out the first group of 30,000 cash assistance recipients.
It couldn't be built so that it could be ready today. I began building it today, so that's ready in April. But we're not able to build it 3 months ago, so that it was ready today.
The building began as soon as this program was funded. It's you're starting a whole new benefit program. One of the reasons why we wanted to start with people that were known to us is because we would already have determined their income. We wouldn't have to make people come in and verify income. We already are aware of what their circumstances are, but we wanted to create a system in which people could get this benefit without having to come into an office.
Just to follow up on that, I guess I'm a little confused by the explanation. It seems like because of convenience, you're going to delay providing the service to 130,000 people. I'm sure they would rather start today just by going to an office. Smart question, you don't ask.
Right, I hear your question, Yoav. This system we're trying to build is one which is going to accommodate 160,000 people to get benefits in this fiscal year. We have a funding level to be able to roll out that level of the program. We want to make sure that when we roll it out, it works properly. It's to make sure that this first group are able to get their benefits, to use their benefits, and then working with the MTA to roll it out to the next group. You're correct that we're trying to create a convenient system, but we want to implement a system that works right, that we can make sure we monitor usage and make sure we're getting it to people who we've determined to be appropriately eligible for the benefit.
So, Steve, don't go far away, and I'm going to say a summation, and you'll say if you want to modify it at all. To Yoav's question, I think your basic point you're making is you're building the airplane while it's going down the runway. And that first 30,000 is the opportunity to test with a substantial number to make sure everything's working. And then you're building further to the next group. You'd like the next group to have an even more convenient experience, obviously to have the single rides included. But it stood to reason, and this is something, again, I understand that reporters or anybody else might say, why can't things be more instantaneous? But you would also say if something went wrong, why did something go wrong? So we're trying to use the first 30,000 to make sure the whole system will work. Would you agree with that? Absolutely. Okay, let me see. Go ahead, follow up. Hold on, we're doing media questions this side, and then I'll come to that side. Go ahead.
Quite a follow-up, but I wanted to ask about the total eligible pool, because your one plan, New York, your one New York plan said that at the end of 2018, because of the raise in the minimum wage, you expected as many as 519,000 people to move out of poverty or near poverty. So I'm curious, does that minimum wage change, is that going to shrink the pool of total?
We sure hope so. I mean, we're working right now on the next one New York plan, and we can come back with the very latest statistics for you. But everyone up here wants to reduce the number of people in poverty. So let's begin at the beginning. Everything we've been doing, this council, everybody has been working together to reduce the amount of poverty. From the beginning of our administration, we set a goal, and we said if you did a $15 minimum wage, if you did paid sick leave, pre-K, after school, obviously affordable housing programs, legal services to stop evictions, all these things we're going to reduce poverty. We have more tools than we've ever had now. We want to go a lot farther. In terms of this initiative, Fair Fares, reaching people below the poverty level, we all would like there to be fewer people below the poverty level to have to serve. But whatever that universe is, we're going to do our best to reach the most possible. But we will get you the updated numbers both on the existing poverty level and what we project it to be in the next few years. This side, and then we'll go to the other side. Yes, go ahead.
What is the forecast for the pay per ride? Is that also in April that would start? Or
say again, I'm sorry?
What is the forecast for starting the discounted fares for pay per ride?
In April. The pay-per-ride feature will be available in April for both the people that are getting cards now and for the new people that are coming on in April.
Okay, back there.
Go
ahead, please.
We have a question for the council speaker.
Go ahead, speaker.
Yes. Are you happy with the way this is rolling out in phases? Is this something that you push for, or did you push back against?
Well, you know, when you are rolling out a massive program, it needs to be done in phases. So I am perfectly comfortable with starting off with initial populations of people where we have their information and we can get it done. There's a commitment, there's a mutual commitment that you heard here today from the mayor, from myself, from the council members, from the advocates on getting a firm timeline to reach as many people as possible who are eligible. Not every program everyone participates in. Food stamps, only 70% of New Yorkers participate in a food stamp program. So we don't expect all 800,000 people are going to participate in this. The number could be 400,000. It could be 600,000. We don't know what that number is going to be. This is a good start. This was a major win. Today is a celebratory moment. We are doing something very big to make a difference in people's lives who are living in poverty. So today, I am happy about that. I am happy that we're getting this done. Could things be done in a more perfect way? The mayor and I can always Monday morning quarterback and figure out ways that we could get it done in a better way. But we are we are excited that today is a day that people who are living in poverty are going to be able to move forward. And as you just heard from the mayor and Commissioner Banks, there's a commitment to come up with a timeline for the rollout of further folks who are going to become eligible for this. We're going to work on that, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah, Julia.
Yeah, so the first 30,000, will they have to pick up the cards somewhere, or are they doing that?
Yeah, and that first 30,000 again this is the piece where we're starting, and then we want to make it easier and easier as it goes along. So the first 30,000, whether they have to come pick up and everything else.
Right. The first 30,000 will be given specific locations in each borough to come register, pick up their card. Remember, they've already been determined eligible, so they're not going to apply. It's not a public office. It's a place where they can go register, pick up their benefit, and then beginning in April, they'll be able to get benefits in the mail.
Going to be posted, or do you know them?
The individual will receive a letter giving them specific locations that they can go to, because remember, it's not an application process. They've already been determined eligible by the work we've been doing up to this point.
Okay. Anybody else on this side? Last call, and then we'll go to the other side.
April, we're talking about between 100, 130, and 160,000 eligible New Yorkers. When do you anticipate expansion, and what eligibility requirements are you looking for?
So 30,000 now, 130,000 more April, and we keep going. Right now, the work is beginning on the next phase. We don't have the specific amount yet. We obviously, when we're starting this much, after just 6 months of work to create it from scratch, it shows our commitment to keep going, and we intend to keep going. So as soon as we can announce the next phase, we're going to. We want as many people to get this as possible. Last call on this side, media. Okay, this side, media. Gloria.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to, there's some clear dissatisfaction here from the advocates that are standing with you today about the rollout, about the timeline. Why tie this benefit to cash benefits and food assistance, where you have spoken in the past about the difficulty that there is in getting people to sign up for that? Even you've spoken about some of the changes to the federal law and how you're concerned that people will not enroll for these benefits. So how do you balance those two things out, and why is it being done this way?
Look, I have a lot of respect for these folks, and we may have some respectful differences, and that's fine. And David made a point about the nature of advocates. They're always going to push us to do more, and I respect that. But I want to be very clear. We have an obligation to help people in need. We have an obligation to run a program efficiently and make sure we don't in any way, shape, or form waste the taxpayers' money. We have an obligation to make sure we get the right people, those who are intended for it, and avoid fraud. There's a lot of reasons why we have to have a structure that makes sense like any other initiative. And when you have people who you know qualify because they're in existing programs, and you can communicate with them effectively and speed the process for their participation because you don't have to separately and individually verify income and other matters, that makes a lot of sense to key into that. But even that took a certain amount of work to construct how to do it right. So I emphasize we want to reach as many people as possible. We want to do it as fast as possible, like every other initiative that we've taken to address income inequality. But this one also comes with some particular features where we have to make sure we get it right.
Are you concerned that this program could really balloon in cost in later years? And you've said that you want the MTA to fund this, but clearly that's, I mean, like, we don't know what's going to happen.
We don't know. Again, we don't know a lot of things in terms of Albany. But I always remind people that things have happened in Albany that weren't expected, and we have a whole new dynamic with the Democratic State Senate. I think we're going to see a lot of progress in the next months that we could not have imagined even just a few years ago. So to talk about this being part of a larger package, I think makes sense. Mike Gianaris, who now is going to be one of the single most important people in the legislature, is the sponsor of the millionaire's tax bill that includes fair fares. So I think it is a live option, and I think it's the best option because it then means there's that verifiable money that guarantees its future. But either way you slice it, we're resolute about continuing to build it. And I think we can reach a lot of people, and I think we can do it quickly.
6 months from the deal to January 1st.
What did you do? What actions did you take? What was your management style when your people came to you and said, people on SNAP benefits, we know, people on cash assistance, we know we'll have to wait for April for a paper ride, wait for April to get the benefit. Why were you satisfied with an April rollout?
My management style was to push people to go as fast as they could within the plan that was agreed upon, because that was agreed upon with the council for a reason. Talking with OMB, talking with social services to try and project what it would take to achieve such a plan, the estimate was about 6 months. Proved to be accurate. But it was a known fact that there was a lot to be worked out, that different types of people would qualify differently, that it was valuable to have a first group to test to make sure everything else would work. Again, I'm saying something I think everyone's lived through here. Imagine a government program that rolls out to great acclaim and then doesn't work. That's not good for anyone. We do not want to allow that to happen. And so I think people were really sober. They were focused. I pushed them, and I was convinced that they had the right timeline.
Why was it satisfactory when they came to you and said that? And you've launched things early. Your ferry program was early, right? Early. Had some hiccups, but early. When they came to you and said, we're going to do the bigger pool of people in April, I just want to know, what did you tell them? What was your...
Again, I don't know if you heard me. The fact is that people estimated 6 months to get up and running in any way, shape, or form. Not utopia in 6 months, to start a brand new thing in 6 months, which is an aggressive timeline by any measure. And there was also real concerns that came up along the way about making it work effectively, sustainably, having anti-fraud measures, cost efficiency. These are real issues that we all care about in management. I think the proposal that is now moving was smart because it said, here's a first group that's a lot of people. It's also going to allow us to test some of the things to make sure they're working. And then we move rapidly, literally within weeks, up 130,000 more. I'm very satisfied that's a good plan.
Mayor, when did you know that
a little louder?
When did you know that you were not going to be able to roll out this program in the original timeline? And I want to ask that question of Corey.
Sure. Again,
when you found out,
deepest respect, we may have a difference of opinion or interpretation. This program was intended to be at the beginning of January. It's the beginning of January. And it's starting in aggressive nature because it starts with 30,000, adds another 130,000 a matter of weeks later. I'm satisfied that's very consistent with everything we sought to do. Okay, anything else over here? Go ahead.
Question for the speaker as well. I guess this was such a major part of the budget process. Do you wish, looking back, I know you spoke about Monday quarterbacking, but do you wish that there had been finer points of negotiation during that process, that you would have had more of a guarantee to say, we're going to target X amount of people in the first year, and you have to have the website set up by January 1st and so on? In terms of your negotiation being it was your first year and so on.
We had those detailed conversations together. We didn't know everything that was going to come, and there was an interaction that had to take place. I wasn't part of it, but it was HRA and the mayor's office signing an MOU with the MTA on how this would work, on creating a card. So there was that. There was also concerns around not wanting healthcare.gov like creation where we set something up and then it didn't work in the way that was needed. But what I think today is really about is the mutual commitment of reaching as many people as possible with a firm timeline to get all folks who are currently not captured by the Department of Social Services. We're starting off with 30,000 potentially, building to another 130,000 potentially. Again, I don't think everyone's going to participate. Doesn't happen with any program. And then we're going to build from there with clear timelines. This is a big thing. This is an anti-poverty measure. This is something that is seismic and is an important thing. When I became speaker, I said that one of the things I wanted to focus on was fighting poverty and working on poverty. We did that on EFAP, on increasing emergency food access programs. We've done that on many, many other things. So I am excited that today is about launching this. It's going to help vulnerable people, and we are going to keep pushing. The mayor knows we're going to keep pushing. We've had those conversations, and we've had detailed conversations. So I look forward to doing that. Again, could things be more perfect? Yes. But I also think this is a celebratory moment. We are doing something very, very big. It's easy for other people, I think, from the outside who weren't entirely involved with this to criticize, but I think this is going to help a lot of people. The average person is going to save more than $700 a year. More than $700 a year. That's a big thing. This was fought for years. And we got it done in the first 6 months of this past year. It's a big deal. I'm excited about it.
Thank you, Speaker. And you also want to note the point that the Speaker made. We had to work with the MTA, which was obviously the only way for this to work. And we don't run the MTA. Everyone here knows that. We had to come to a point of understanding with them on really practical matters. That was another one of the challenges, but again, we got it done in the timeline we hoped for. Okay, we're going to move off this in a minute. If there's any other topics, so I'll do just a couple more on this and then see if there's anything else. Yeah.
Wait, can you compare this program? You rolled out a massive...
Again?
You rolled out a massive pre-K program very quickly, and so, you know, it's still a little, you know, not understandable about how this program cannot be rolled out.
It's a very different thing. And again, we can have the same question over and over. I've really told you exactly what happened, and we believe this was the right way to do it. Pre-K had an existing application process. Let's just go back. I'd be happy to go through it with you. It's known fact. When we came in, there were about 20,000 kids in full-day pre-K. Over a 2-year timeline, we got that up to 70,000. But it was based on an existing application, and the parameters were already known. This was creating a brand new initiative that never existed before, determining what kind of parameters would work, how to make it actually reach people, make sure it only reaches the people it was meant to reach, make sure it was fraud-proof. There were a lot of things we had to put into place that were from scratch that just weren't true with a program like pre-K. So guys, just want to say, I'm only going to be able to take a few more. If you want to do, please.
I want to say something on that. I want to say, just Jeff, I want to just address that concern. You know, this program is a lot. Folks, can you please press conference? So, Jeff, I just want to say the difference is this program could potentially, though I don't think it will get there, expand to 800,000 people. That is a lot bigger than what the mayor just outlined, which is pre-K got up to 70,000 folks. And so that was it was a huge thing the mayor did. He deserves I think it's a signature achievement of his administration. But I think this is very, very different than that because the size is so big and there wasn't a pre-existing program in place. These are two separate things. Again, we are going to build this program. You've heard a commitment from me, from the mayor, from the advocates, from the council members to get this to as many people as possible. This is a first step. We are going to keep pushing. It's going to be part of future budget conversations. You heard from the advocates what their expectations are. You heard from the mayor what his commitment is. You heard from me how important this is. This is a very good thing, and I'm very excited about it.
Initially as intended, and did you push back with the mayor on the fact that it wasn't?
We have been having, I can't give you an exact date, but we've been having conversations since the fall about kind of the initial phases and what we thought was doable. Some of the stuff around the 30,000 and the 160,000 came in later in the year. I think it was maybe around October and November is when we figured out what those buckets were. And then we have been working on an issue around the single swipe, the pay per ride, and how to get that done. And that wasn't figured out. Again, I wasn't part of those conversations with the MTA or the administration of it, but the mayor and his team were the ones who were negotiating with the MTA on getting the single swipe, and that came together just in the last 2 weeks or so with the MTA to get it done.
Okay, Just want to say a few more media questions, and they could be on this or they could be on something else, but we have only time for a few more. Gersh, hold on. Gersh. You got a chance. Gersh.
Well, you were asked yesterday, it was premature because Governor Cuomo's announcement about the L train wasn't official. Right. So are you, now that you've had some time to think about this, are you ready to commit to keeping some of the streetscape and busway improvements that were made to mitigate the L train shutdown now that the shutdown's not coming?
So one,
bus lanes, HOV on the bridge.
Yeah, I hear you. First, I want to just start with what the governor has announced. The intention is very good. And obviously, I commend him, and I hope it comes to pass that we can avoid that kind of shutdown, and so many people in Brooklyn and Manhattan are not disrupted. I think we're not there yet in knowing if it's really going to work out that way. And I just caution everyone, the first thing to say before answering this, the core of your question is, we're not changing anything in the plan right now until we can absolutely verify that this new idea is going to work. No one heard of it until the last 24 hours. So, and I questioned this morning on the radio, if the MTA was looking at this for years and years, how did they not believe this was possible, and now suddenly it's possible? So I hope it's possible, but if it isn't, we need all of those measures ready to handle the disruption that was originally projected. Now, to your question, look, I'm open to that. I'm not there yet because we're literally in a brand new reality and we don't know what we're dealing with here. But I'm open to it, and I want to look at that independently if we even get a chance to look at it independently, meaning once we know for sure we're dealing with a very different reality of L train, then we're absolutely going to look at those measures and see if they might be the kind of thing we want to do going forward.
MTA board members on how to handle this.
Literally, we have just gotten the proposal. We're going to be talking to our board members. I don't know exactly. I haven't heard when the meeting's going to be. We'll talk to them in advance of it. Go ahead. Again, my friend, I'm not here to do that for you. Go ahead.
In regards to NYCHA, Mayor, Bronx Borough President Ruben Diaz Jr. posted a video to social media that showed garbage that wasn't picked up for weeks at Sotomayor houses in Soundview.
At where, please?
Sotomayor houses in Soundview. And then it was picked up once it was seen on social media.
Right.
And NYCHA then responded that they're focused on solutions, not hashtags, and Diaz says that the new method, the hashtags, appear to be a better option. So my question to you is, what is the remedy in regards to the NYCHA situation? The public seems very upset about this.
Look, the whole bigger remedy is what we laid out a couple of weeks ago, which is a plan that will fundamentally change the future of NYCHA. It means that 62,000 apartments will go into that federal RAD Section 8 program. It means that we're going to be bringing in a lot of new resources, private resources as well as public resources. We obviously have new management that's changed the approach to the heat issue, and that's starting to have some real impact. We brought in a lot more outside boilers, portable boilers, mechanics. A lot of things are changing. There's no question there's a lot of things that are not acceptable right now. And if you get a case like that, that's not acceptable to me, and it has to be fixed right away. Okay, we're going to do the last one. We'll do these two, and we're out.
This might be for Steve Banks, but the question is, are there any other residents who are whose income levels are known to HRA that you anticipate would be the next big group of people, or are you kind of starting from scratch on verifying anyone else's eligibility for the mental card?
Let me try it broadly, and Steve. So we're going to start immediately on the next tranche. We know there are folks under the poverty level, and we're looking for the ways to reach them that are most effective, most verifiable, fastest, like the SNAP was, like the cash benefit was. So I assume we're working on a universal options. We also have to do it with the MTA, obviously.
Group that's already known to you, a pretty sizable group that you think will be the next group, or do you have to kind of start?
I think we have options, but again, given how there's been, I think, some misunderstandings along the way, I don't think it's productive to say here's one that might or another. I think the productive thing is to come up with the next phase and announce it. Last call.
Earlier today, Governor Cuomo said that he personally reached out to Elon Musk and Tesla.
To who, please?
To Elon Musk and Tesla, asking if their technology could fix the subway signal system. So I'm wondering if you think that's a path worth pursuing.
I love the fact that the governor is asking that question, because what we've seen so far from the MTA is a plan that will take a long, long time to fix the signals. If there's new technology that would fix them faster, that could be a godsend to all New Yorkers. So I'm very happy he's asking, and I obviously appreciate that he's taking the lead. The state controls the MTA. It's good to see him taking the lead. I don't know Elon Musk. I don't know what that technology is, but if there's something that might help, I mean, the number one problem, even though it's the least, the least public or the least sexy problem, but the number one problem in terms of people actually getting around is the signal system. So if there's some way to fix it faster, God bless. We would love that. Thanks, everyone.